A regular chatbot describes step 1 and waits for you. Claude Code just finishes the whole thing. Here's why that's even possible. Because it runs that read, plan, act, check loop. You can hand it a complete task instead of one instruction. It carries the whole thing out, creating structure, writing files, checking its own work, adjusting as needed. You stop managing every micro step and start delegating full outcomes. That shift is the real unlock. Follow next, the 4 words that explain how it actually thinks. 4 words explain exactly how Claude Code operates. Once you know them, it stops feeling like magic. Read, it looks at the relevant files. Think, it forms a plan. Act, it makes a change or runs a command. Check, it verifies whether that worked. If not, it loops back and adjusts. That little cycle is the entire difference between something that answers a question and something that finishes a job. Follow next, what's really happening when it builds something big. When AI builds something big and it looks effortless, here's what's actually happening behind the scenes. It's never one giant move. Every read, every write, every command is a single discrete action. Building a whole folder structure is dozens of tiny actions fired one after another, each one checked before the next. Big, polished results are almost never one heroic step. They're small, correct moves, stacked quickly. The speed just hides the simplicity. Follow next, the myth stopping most people from even trying this. Let's kill the biggest myth stopping people from using Claude Code. You do not need to be a programmer. The tool was originally built for software developers, so its documentation is thick with code talk. That scares people off. But everyday work, writing, planning, organizing, uses none of it. Plain instructions in plain English is the whole interface. If you can clearly brief another human on what you want, you already have the only skill that matters here. Follow next, what to actually do when a session goes sideways. When a session starts going sideways, most people push harder. That's usually the wrong move. Losing track deep into a long session almost always means a full context window, not a broken AI. Fighting it with more prompts just adds to the pileup. Starting a fresh session brings back your core setup automatically. Sometimes the answer isn't a better prompt, it's a clean slate. Knowing when to reset instead of grind saves real time. Follow next, the one thing that never changes no matter where you use it. Chat window or Claude Code, you're always talking to the exact same Claude. This matters more than it sounds. The underlying model doesn't swap to a smarter one when you switch environments. Intelligence stays identical. What changes is access, which files it can see, what it's permitted to touch. Stop hunting for a hidden, better version. There isn't one. Your real leverage is how much access and context you hand the same brain. Follow next, the safety net for editing files you can't afford to lose. There's a moment Claude Code goes from fun to handle with care. The first time it touches files you truly can't afford to lose. That's exactly when plan mode earns its keep. Tell it to show its plan before changing anything, which files, what edits. Nothing happens until you approve. Match the caution to the stakes. Low stakes, let it run. High stakes, make it show its work first. Follow next, a term you'll never actually need to worry about. If a tutorial casually mentions your codebase, relax, you almost certainly don't have one. A codebase is the collection of files that make up running software, a developer's term for developers' work. Content, writing, and plans don't run as a program, which means none of it can technically break. So when something feels off, you're never debugging a codebase. You're refining wording, a creative note, not an engineering problem. Follow last one in the series, and it's the most important. After all the terminals, tools, and tiers, here's the one thing that actually decides your results, and it isn't technical at all. The skill that separates sharp AI output from generic mush isn't coding, and it isn't knowing every feature. It's context and direction, telling it clearly who you are, what you want, and where to look. The tech is genuinely the easy part. You can learn it in an afternoon. Knowing exactly what to ask for is the durable edge. Master that, and the tools barely matter. If this series actually helped follow, more of this is coming.